So when you find out, like, are you told of this a week out, 2 weeks out?
Oh, no. Maybe a few days tops. And I was just like, okay, I get the cameos by everybody, but putting 3 different guys over.
Hang on. Let me set the scene here. It's early 2000. So Christmas is in the rear view. New Year's is in the rear view. We just left the Bilo Center. David Flair, thank the Lord. He's our tag team champion, along with Crowbar. And now they're thinking, what are we going to do up in Buffalo? Who calls you? I assume it's a call because I don't think text messages are really a thing. I don't know how prevalent email was back then.
No, it was
have email on their phone.
a Russo or Ferrara call. My gut tells me Russo.
And how does he warm you up to this idea? How does he go? What does that? I'm not saying this to be funny. I'm asking genuinely, sincerely. How would a conversation like that sound? I'm not asking you to do a Russo impression. How would he pitch you on this idea?
Hey, bud, this is what we got lined up. We're trying to tell this story with and I didn't even know it till this episode or remember it, the Old Age Outlaws. We're going to have that kind of confrontation, the NWO versus the establishment, whatever, however he described that to me. And we want to, entertain the people all night. We're going to have these legends. And of course, you're the guy to do it. All right, what are we going to do in each of these finishes? Because for advertising matches and going to have all these guys in their element, like, what are we doing? He said, oh, we'll have Benoit as the ref or however it laid out. And we've got those other guys to cause the distraction. Vince, I don't know if that's really good, but okay, I see where you're going with it. That's the general kind of gist of it. As I'm watching this back, the lowering of the cage, and to me, the cage stipulation, the look of it, this also kind of neutered it because we didn't show it. We didn't make the cage this big threat. Again, it's going to go into, okay, maybe in Vince's mind, if Snooker's in a cage, he has to drop off the top of it. And that's what they got out of this. How long is this whole match, Conrad? Does it say?
3 minutes and change.
So all 3 legends, I'm under 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you were 3.5 minutes, and this is 3:19. So 7-minute Double J. He can get the job done.
Under 10 minutes against 3 legends.
You need me to lose 3 matches in 7 minutes? No problem. I'm the ultimate professional.
Here comes Benoit. He's pissed off. And I just wonder if I
guess the question is, do you not remember beating him up?
No, I don't. And the quarter hours here, which is interesting. Wonder how they did. I wonder if George the Animal was a better quarter hour than Tito. I'm joking.
Will you stop? What's wrong with you?
I wonder if we're going to be able to do this in slow motion, because I've watched this back on our pod or some way, somehow. But Conrad, I'm not kidding you. I never took into account the possibility of this kind of injury. Never. That's dumb on me. Shame on me.
I don't even think that, because like, who would have how could you guess that?
Well, yeah. In my mind, I can protect myself. I can do this. I can do that. So now here comes Chris going up top.
By the way, the matches on the show, Crowbar and David Flair over Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, 4 minutes and 37 seconds. George Steele and Jeff Jarrett, 1:13. Tito Santana and Jeff Jarrett, 2:24. Jimmy Snuka and Jeff Jarrett, 3:20. And then Bret Hart and Kevin Nash go 10:54. That's all your wrestling minutes.
Whew. And I'm in 3, which were quick ones. Mm-hmm. And like you said,
you had about 23 minutes of wrestling.
Wow. Here come the Old Age Outlaws, still kicking my ass.
For you to be the chosen one, they sure are putting your ass through the ringer here.
Oh, I was the chosen one. I got chose to do 3 jobs. get my ass beat all over the ring. And here we go. You talk about getting your bell rung.
We're not supposed to do it, but I know we can't do it for more than 7 seconds. But as Snuka is making his way to the top, the whole crowd's on their feet. People are losing their mind. He's facing the wrong way. Now he's got to turn around.
Yep, and Benoit's going to do it.
Benoit's on the other side. Wow, what a visual. Benoit on one end, Snuka on the other. Let's track it.
Big splash over the top of the cage. Now it's Benoit's time.
So we get a super fly, Snuka splash, and we get a diving headbutt, both off the top of the cage. Snuka hooks the leg, and Benoit counts 3 immediately after the diving headbutt. And all I could think about because I kind of forgot Benoit did that.
Hey,
he's coming off with
immediately, but go ahead.
You what?
We jumped off the shot immediately. 1, 2, 3, boom, you're out.
That's what's happened every match. I don't know if you've noticed that, but it doesn't matter what's back there. It immediately crashes to the backstage area. That is a Vince Russoism.
Yeah.
Like that is a best practice for him. And I can't argue. Hey, if you're trying to keep them watching, like Crash TV clearly works. Like, hey, we need to create some movement. But after you just took both of those big bumps, they show you on camera not at all. So, there's a lot of talk in wrestling today about, oh, nobody sells anything. WCW in 2000 didn't care. They didn't want you to sell anything.
Yeah.
Take it, and then we're moving.
And then we're moving on.
Well, knowing what we know now, you're standing. I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly, but you're standing, laying, prone, waiting on 2 murderers to take turns jumping off on top of you. And at the time, I would think, man, I don't know if that's good for Benoit to be doing the diving headbutt. It would never even cross my mind that the guy who's laying still, taking the bump, he gets a terrible concussion too. Take us back to that night, Jeff.
Conrad, like I said, we've been laughing and cutting up on this. I just never, because I knew, okay, Jimmy's jumping off. I need to brace myself and prepare myself, but I am going to be laying right for him. If I need to scoot over and he's like, no, brother, I'll get you. I'll make sure you're close enough in. And so when I looked up at a comfort level that, he's jumping up and all that. And so if you look back, I came on up, my head was well off the ground, but you just don't really think about a 260, 70-pound guy, literally like a bag of concrete. It doesn't matter how strong I was. The whiplash in my head smacking the back of the mat. And, it took me a while going to Dr. Tim and the diagnosis, and he was checking me out, my neck on all the way around, just how horrible case of whiplash on top of a concussion. But that night when it happened, Conrad, I knew immediately, like, holy crap. But I didn't think it was that bad until I got to the back and I'm trying to undress, and Slick Johnson was in there. He said, "You all right?" I said, "Hey man, is there any way you can turn those lights off?" Because the light in the room felt like it was so bright. And Benoit knew how to throw that headbutt. He not just that night, he always hurt himself more than he did his opponents. His body took years of pounding. But is one of those things. I didn't give it a second thought. We're going to go do this 3-minute match, 3-minute match, 3-minute match, and tell the story. And that's what they want. And I'm going to work hard and make the best of the situation. Little did I know that was the worst injury of my career by far when I really look at it, because my bell was wrong, and it was quite some time before I was right after that.
What's it like having a concussion like that, Jeff?
You don't want to see bright light. Your head is pounding. And a lot of times, I described it back then because once I got into a cadence of going to Dr. Tim, because when I came home, I cannot even believe I flew home, because the next day after Buffalo, we did an Erie Thunder taping, and my bell was rung, and I think maybe all I had was an in-ring. I knew I couldn't work, and then I flew home the next day. And when I got home, I immediately went to Tim, and he's like, "Man, you've got serious swelling in my head. It's like a headache on a scale of 1 to 10." I'm sure I would have told him, like, it's way past 10, and my head just throbbing. And so it was, we got to get as much inflammation out of that as possibly can. I didn't want to have any bright light. I came right home, and it's in this house, but there's a bedroom downstairs that has no windows. It's kind of, at the time, it was kind of like storage, but anyway, it's a small bedroom. I went in there because there was no lights in it. Literally no daylight could get in. So shut the door in there, and I just tried to lay in there and, put, what do you call that? Anyway, I put a roll under my back of my neck to try to slowly stretch it out. But the main thing was getting the inflammation out. And it took about 3 days, maybe 2 days, two or 3 days to kind of get the inflammation out. And then once that out, I was on to my road to recovery. But as long as, they say your brain fits in your skull, and you've got a scale of about you can put it on a 1 to 10 on how much room you have in there. But when your brain is rattled and the fluid swells up, that's what hurts. You have basically all the pressure on your brain, and your brain can rattle around in that in your skull, and you don't have much wiggle room, and you want to get all that swelling out. Conrad, that thing hurt bad. I'm just sitting here thinking about how uncomfortable it was, pounding headache. And I could, because I had, like I said, not only, and that was explained to me that some people can have concussion without whiplash. Have you ever had whiplash, Conrad? Like been rear-ended? Okay, whiplash is a mother too, man. That thing, it hurts. It's just so, I don't say hurt. It's just so uncomfortable, because it's all your neck flexors are just super strained. And so I couldn't look up, down, left, right, back. Everything was whiplash and a concussion. I was a mess for a while, but the first probably 48, 72 hours were the ones that were almost unbearable.